in the dimly lit corridors of a world where the whisper of shadows carries more weight than the shout of daylight, where intrigue pirouettes through the halls of power like a clandestine ballet. There, my friends, stands an institution as uniquely formidable and distinctly French as a bottle of the finest Bordeaux. The Directorate General for External Security, or DGSE, if you will, France's riposte to the globe-trotting espionage epics penned by the CIA and the storied chapters of Britain's MI6, or MI5. Born from the fiery crucible of historical tumult and honed in the shadowy arts of intelligence, the DGSE embroiders its narrative through the intricate tapestry of international enigmas, acting both as a silent guardian and a phantom in the nocturnal embrace. But, my dear viewers, this narrative extends beyond the cloak and dagger. It's a chronicle of national valor, of an unending quest for security against the backdrop of a perpetually shifting global tableau. As we draw back the veil on this clandestine domain, let us embark on a journey into the enigmatic heart of the DGSE, France's premier espionage virtuoso. And in this video, we will discuss Operation Barracuda 1979, support to the Afghan Mujahideen 1980s, Rainbow Warrior bombing 1985, counterterrorism operations, intervention in the Balkans 1990s, African engagements and intelligence on Iran's nuclear program. Welcome, my friends, to the grand shadow ballet of the globe's elite spies. Operation Barracuda 1979. Let's dial back the clock to the heart of Africa and zoom in on an operation so bold it could only be the brainchild of France, a nation renowned for its ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Picture the Central African Republic, a country caught in the iron grip of Emperor Bokassa, a ruler of such extravagance and brutality that his story seems lifted from the pages of a dark fairy tale. Bokassa wasn't just any dictator. He was a man who rose from the French army to power, crowning himself Emperor Bokassa in a lavish ceremony that cost millions, all while his country languished in poverty. As Bokassa's reign descended further into the abyss of tyranny, France faced a dilemma. Supporting a despot was out of the question for a country that prided itself on its revolutionary principles. Thus, under the veil of night and the strategic direction of the enigmatic DGSE, France set the stage for Operation Barracuda, a decisive strike aimed at ending Bokassa's oppressive rule. With meticulous planning, French forces, including the elite 2nd Foreign Parachute Regiment, took to the skies. Their target? Key strategic points like the Bangui airport, which fell with barely a whisper of resistance. Meanwhile, Bokassa was out of the picture, seeking alliances in Libya, leaving his empire unprotected and ripe for change. The fallout was swift. Bokassa found himself a ruler without a realm, exiled and stripped of power. France's intervention led to the reinstatement of David Dacko, though the seeds of future turmoil were already sown, hinting at the complex aftermath of such interventions. Operation Barracuda isn't just a story of military intervention. It's a vivid illustration of the intricate dance of geopolitics, a reminder of the enduring legacy of colonial influence and the unpredictable outcomes of foreign involvement. If you have enjoyed the video so far, please subscribe to the channel. Support to the Afghan Mujahideen 1980s. In the arid landscapes of Afghanistan during the 1980s, a dramatic saga unfolded that would shape the geopolitics of the region for decades to come. This was a time when the DGSE, alongside its American and British counterparts, wove a complex web of support for the Afghan Mujahideen, the guerrilla fighters embroiled in a fierce resistance against the Soviet occupation. The operation, a blend of cold strategy and covert tactics, was akin to a chess game played on the rugged terrain of Afghanistan, where intelligence, training, and weapons were the moves that defined the battle. The narrative began with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in December 1979, a move prompted by a series of tumultuous events that saw the rise of a communist regime in Afghanistan, leading to a brutal crackdown on dissent and the subsequent revolt by the Mujahideen. In the shadows, the United States, under the Carter administration, and its allies saw an opportunity to suck the Soviets into a Vietnamese quagmire, leveraging the Mujahideen resistance as a counterweight to Soviet expansionism. The Mujahideen were disparate groups of Islamist fighters, each with their own ideologies and objectives, but united in their opposition to the Soviet forces. Their resilience and knowledge of local terrain made them formidable opponents, but it was the clandestine support from the West that significantly bolstered their capabilities. A pivotal moment came with the introduction of the FIM-92 Stinger missiles to the Mujahideen arsenal in the late 1980s. These portable surface-to-air missiles proved to be game-changers, inflicting severe losses on Soviet helicopter units and, for a time, paralyzing the Soviet aerial threat. However, the saga of support to the Mujahideen is also a tale of unintended consequences. The very weapons supplied to counter the Soviet occupation sowed the seeds for future conflicts. Many of the Stinger missiles remained unaccounted for after the war, raising fears of their potential use beyond the Afghan borders, including against civilian airliners. Furthermore, the end of the Soviet-Afghan War did not herald peace, but rather ushered in a new era of turmoil and extremism. The Mujahideen factions, once allies against a common enemy, turned against each other in a bitter struggle for power, paving the way for the rise of the Taliban and the establishment of a regime that would once again draw international military intervention. This chapter of history serves as a poignant reminder of the double-edged sword of foreign intervention and the unpredictable ripples that flow from the decisions of states on the global stage. Rainbow Warrior Bombing 1985. The Rainbow Warrior bombing in 1985 is a tale that seems ripped from the pages of a Cold War thriller. Yet its implications reverberated far beyond the realm of fiction. On a quiet July night in Auckland, New Zealand, the Greenpeace flagship Rainbow Warrior was preparing for a mission to protest French nuclear testing in the Pacific. What unfolded next was an act of sabotage that would strain diplomatic ties and spark global outrage. Codenamed Operation Satanique by the French Foreign Intelligence Agency, DGSE, the operation involved the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior to prevent it from interfering with France's nuclear testing in the Pacific. French agents planted 2 limpet mines on the hull of the ship. The explosions killed Fernando Pereira, a Portuguese-Dutch photographer who drowned as the ship sank. The aftermath of the bombing was a diplomatic nightmare for France. Initial denials of involvement were soon undermined by evidence, leading to the arrest of 2 French agents, Dominique Prieur and Elaine Maffart, in New Zealand. Charged with manslaughter, their trial and subsequent convictions unveiled the French government's role in the bombing, straining relations with New Zealand and drawing international condemnation. Greenpeace, an organization known for its peaceful protest against environmental degradation and nuclear proliferation, was thrust into the spotlight. The bombing, rather than silencing the group, galvanized public support for their cause and highlighted the dangers activists face in their efforts to protect the planet. The sinking of the Rainbow Warrior did not just mark a significant event in New Zealand's history. It underscored the lengths to which governments would go to protect their interests, even against non-violent opposition. The French government's eventual admission of responsibility, coupled with reparations and apologies, did little to undo the damage to its reputation. Counterterrorism operations. The DGC's counterterrorism efforts are multifaceted, involving both high-tech and low-tech strategies to neutralize threats both within France and on the international stage. Their operations demonstrate a deep commitment to preventing terrorism through a combination of intelligence gathering, direct action, and international cooperation. One notable operation took place in the Sahara, targeting an AQIM base in northern Mali. This operation, while significant, underscored France's strategic approach in the region, focusing on preventing the emergence of a new jihad land rather than launching an overt war against terror. The operation highlighted the DGC's capacity for both collecting human intelligence and utilizing high-tech signals intelligence. This dual approach allows the DGSE to track movements and gather crucial information, enabling quick and efficient responses to threats. In the wake of the attack by Mohamed Merah in Toulouse, questions arose about the French counterterrorism framework's effectiveness, especially regarding lone wolf terrorists. Despite the DCRI's extensive tracking of Mara's travels and potential radicalization signs, the attack occurred, highlighting challenges in detecting and preventing actions by individuals without clear organizational links to established terrorist cells. In response, France initiated a crackdown on radical Islamists and proposed new legislative initiatives to strengthen the legal arsenal against potential terrorists. The DGC's strategy is characterized by a deep knowledge of regional dynamics, intensive intelligence exchanges, and cooperation with local states in the Maghreb and sub-Saharan Africa. France leverages its historical ties and expertise in these regions to conduct effective counterterrorism operations. This includes training African military forces to enhance their counterterrorism skills and police cooperation through the SCTIP, highlighting France's holistic approach to counterterrorism that spans military, intelligence, and law enforcement domains. Intervention in the Balkans 1990s. In the shadowed turmoil of the 1990s Balkans, where the collapse of Yugoslavia had ignited the flames of conflict across the region, a shadow war was waged not just with guns and tanks, but with information and covert action. DGSE emerged as a silent force amidst the chaos, their operations shrouded in the utmost secrecy. As the Yugoslav wars tore through the heart of Southeast Europe, the DGSE operatives found themselves in a labyrinth of danger, navigating through the complexities of a multi-sided conflict that was as much about ethnic identities as it was about territorial claims. Their mission was multifaceted and fraught with peril, yet vital for the French and their allies in their efforts to bring peace to a region engulfed in violence. With precision and stealth, these agents of shadow delved into the murky waters of wartime intelligence gathering. Their targets were not just the military secrets of opposing factions, but also the dark undercurrents of ethnic cleansing that threatened to erase the multicultural tapestry of the Balkans. It was a mission that went beyond traditional espionage. It was about bearing witness to atrocities, about gathering the evidence that could one day bring perpetrators to justice. The DGC's role in protecting civilian populations was a beacon of hope in the darkness of war. Their operations extended to covert actions designed to safeguard those caught in the crossfire, to ensure that the vulnerable were shielded from the horrors of ethnic cleansing. These operations often unfolded under the veil of night, in silent villages and besieged towns where the specter of violence was never far away. The DGSE agents operated in the shadows, but their impact was palpable, saving countless lives through their courageous and timely interventions. Their support for French and Allied military efforts was equally critical. In a theater of war where alliances shifted like sand, and where the terrain itself could be as much an enemy as the opposing forces, the intelligence provided by the DGSE was invaluable. It guided bombing raids to avoid civilian casualties, informed humanitarian missions of safe passages, and sometimes tipped the balance in delicate negotiations that sought to bring an end to the hostilities. African engagements. In the sprawling tapestry of Africa, where the echoes of colonial past intertwine with a vibrant, but often volatile present, France's shadow has loomed large, cast not least by the silent but ever-watchful operatives of the DGSE. Their presence on the continent has been a constant, a manifestation of France's enduring legacy and its unyielding interest in the faith of its former colonies. The DGC's role in Africa is a saga of intrigue and shadowy diplomacy, a dance on the fine line between influence and intervention. From the sun-baked expanses of the Sahel to the lush rainforests of the Congo Basin, their operations have spanned the breadth of the continent, weaving a web of intelligence that has propped up friendly governments, countered insurgencies, and, in moments shrouded in whispers, orchestrated the quiet falls and rises of kings and presidents. Support for friendly governments has often meant wading into the murky waters of African politics, where allegiances shift like dunes in the desert wind. The DGSE has been both shield and sword in this regard, bolstering regimes friendly to French interests against both internal dissent and external threats. Through training, intelligence sharing, and sometimes more direct forms of assistance, they have sought to ensure that the balance of power remains favorable to France's strategic interests. Counterinsurgency efforts have seen DGSE operatives working hand in glove with local forces and international allies to combat threats that range from rebel groups to jihadist militants. These missions have taken them into the heart of darkness, into conflicts that burn at the fringes of the world's attention, where victory is measured not in territories gained, but in chaos contained, in lives saved from the clutches of violence. And then there are the whispers of coups and political transitions, the shadow plays that have sometimes tipped the scales of African destinies. These are the moments when the agency has stepped out from the shadows to cast its own dice in the great game of nations, shaping the continent's political landscape in ways that will be debated for generations. Intelligence on Iran's nuclear program. In the veiled world of international espionage, the French Directorate General for External Security DGSE stands as a pivotal player in the global theater of nuclear surveillance, particularly focused on the shadowy corridors of Iran's nuclear program. Amidst a tableau painted with the tension of clandestine operations and the ever-looming specter of nuclear proliferation, the DGSE, alongside its Western counterparts, delves deep into the heart of Iran's ambitions, unearthing secrets buried within fortified bunkers and closely guarded facilities. This saga unfolds against the backdrop of Iran's turbulent quest to expand its nuclear capabilities, a narrative fraught with covert uranium enrichment and the specter of nuclear armament that could alter the geopolitical balance of power. The DGC's role in this delicate dance of shadows is not merely one of observation, but active engagement, leveraging cutting-edge technology, human intelligence HUMINT, and signals intelligence SIGINT to pierce the veil of Iran's nuclear enigma. Their mission transcends mere surveillance. It is a critical component of a coordinated international effort to gauge the pace of Iran's nuclear progress, understand its technical advancements, and preempt any steps toward weaponization. The information garnered by the DGSE and its allies forms the bedrock of diplomatic negotiations, sanctions, and, if necessary, preventive measures to ensure that the nuclear ambitions of Iran are kept in check, aligned with global non-proliferation norms. The shadow war over Iran's nuclear ambitions is a testament to the enduring importance of intelligence agencies like the DGSE in navigating the complex currents of modern geopolitics. It underscores the necessity of vigilance, precision, and collaboration among nations to safeguard a future free from the shadow of nuclear conflict. Through their silent vigil, the DGSE and its counterparts strive to illuminate the path toward stability and peace, even as they operate in the depths of secrecy. The Directorate General for External Security DGSE of France operates under a veil of secrecy, with the specifics of its missions closely guarded from the public eye. This is an attempt to shine the light on one of the most powerful spy agencies of the world. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. See you next time.